Is there a broad-based government or not? There seems to be a bit of a push and pull here.
Trevor, I'm liking this conversation because we are very objective. Listening to Sifuna and listening to Professor Tom Ojenda, the objectivity of whatever is going on is true. But I want to put to context that comment by the Honorable Sifuna yesterday in the Senate about whether there is an existing broad-based government or not. And the context is in terms of why did it become necessary to have a conversation about that issue at that moment. I sit in the Senate Business Committee. The previous day, when we were planning on the business of the House, Senate had not received any communication from Honorable John Mbadi about his inability to appear yesterday before the Senate. Remember, Trevor, this is a requirement of the law. As a cabinet minister, as a cabinet secretary for the Republic of Kenya, in the docket that he is now, he is under an obligation in the Constitution of Kenya to appear before the Senate to answer questions that members have tabled. Not questions about a certain region, a certain interest by an individual senator, but questions for projects, issues raised across the country. If you were to look at the order paper for yesterday, those questions were done from various members of the Senate. I can't recall whether Senator Sifuna had a question, but I think he had. Actually, the first question was, similarly, Senator Wambua had a question. And the context was, a day before, when we are planning for the operations of the House, we had received communication from one other cabinet secretary that she wouldn't be available to be present. We excused her because of the letter that came and proper notice. Remember, our standing orders requires that if, as a cabinet secretary, you are unable to appear, you must communicate in writing to the Senate within reasonable time, actually 48 hours prior to the appearance. So that was the context with which every other member of the Senate was mad at John Mbadi, that you can't write to us in the morning and tell us that I cannot come to the Senate to answer these questions, and was still, what are the reasons? Because we are all human beings. An incident could happen, a situation can occur that denies you your presence in a certain place that you are required to come. That was the context of that conversation. That is why later on I saw the media saying, look, Senator King, Speaker Kingi has led Senate in attacking. That was not an attack. We, as a House, have got responsibility to represent. The question that you had asked me, we represent the people of Kenya. If that question was not answered yesterday, we do not have any other time to come and answer them. And if cabinet secretaries don't appear, we lose the role and also the mandate that we have as a House. So then that puts the context. Therefore, any other cabinet secretary, as we've all said before, represent the people of Kenya. They do not represent regions. They do not represent their tribes. And it is true where the Honorable former Vice President, or Deputy President rather, Gachagua, you know, you can't wake up every morning and say Murima, Murima. It is not Murima. We are leaders representing Kenya. Our late colleague, Honorable Were, Tom here has made reference that he also has got his uncle's distant uncle. I don't know what that means, distant uncle. But I want to say that Were also has got relatives from Bomet. His wife comes from Bomet. His other wife comes from the county of Bomet. Honorable Were was in Bomet 2 weeks ago, burying his brother-in-law. And therefore, he's a leader not only for the people of Kasipul, but being a member of parliament, he represents a constituency, but in the Republic of Kenya. Therefore, we definitely condemn comments that would unnecessarily create tension to the people of Kenya, to the constituents we represent in any other such forum. Because all of us would want to go and, send him off on Friday. And therefore, if I were to choose to put on the colors of UDA, though it's not a political forum, if unfortunately that day becomes a day that I really feel like I should do and don my yellow colors. Nobody should deny me that ability, but it is not one of those things that we should call upon others to fight. Allow me to say then something about what Senator Sifuna has taken you through and the rest of Kenyans who are watching with regards to the MOU that was signed between President William Ruto and Raila Amolo Odinga. It is true, as Sifuna puts it, in the August election of 2022, a government was elected. That government is the Kenya Kwanza government. That is the government that formed this particular government. Fast forward, this MOU was signed. It is a formal document. It has got what Sifuna has read, formal intentions by the principals of the two parties, Raila Amolo Odinga and William Ruto. I mean, it is an MOU. It is not a coalition agreement. Well put. Because as a lawyer, I would understand the context of everything else. But then the issues which were captured in this particular MOU were formalized by that signing to show that these two principles set certain intentions on commitments to do certain things for the people of Kenya, to cooperate. That is why a number of my friend Sifuna would call them experts earlier on. Right now, well, of course, I know he still refers. They were brought in experts in government. You know, the beauty of a democracy, the beauty of freedom of speech, to the extent that we are aware there was a commitment. These two people decided, let's cooperate, let's bring Kenyans together. Let us also set up a framework with which we can cool down the political temperatures in the country so that we can concentrate on serving the people of Kenya. And definitely, the agenda that Kenya Kwanza had, the agenda that ODM had, was not for ODM zones. It was for the people of Kenya. Similarly, Kenya Kwanza, the same thing. Therefore, if we have convergence of mind as leaders and we have got goodwill to support each other in serving the people of Kenya, so be it. And that is exactly what we are. And the visits, I wouldn't want to call them political tours the way Senator Sifuna has called them. These are development visits to various places across the country by the president. And sometimes it's important to also have him be accompanied by the executive
leaders from that region,
who in most cases would be expected to be the ones to implement. Ours is to do an oversight and to fight for additional resources. The unfortunate thing is the context with which we mostly would put certain speeches and how our colleagues have their platforms to share with the people of Kenya. Because, well, if I were to be in Bomet today, definitely, I must say what is it that this government has brought in for the country at large and specifically for the people of Kenya. So, importantly, those tours has actually helped this country to be united, to be focused, and the political temperatures somehow have allowed the government to attempt to deliver to the people of Kenya.
Sifuna, there's an increasing